Hi folks, I'm glad you can join me. Today we're going to talk about the possibility, the consideration that the moon is a Death Star. I've heard it a bunch of times before, and I've heard it recently as well, so it's got me thinking again that we should do some talks on it. Staying true to our philosophy, our mechanics, staying true to our approach and what we're trying to do here in exploring these ideas. We're not here to disprove it necessarily or actually or specifically, okay? We're just here to explore the idea. If you want to run with that idea or at least consider that idea, then I have a couple of what I believe are very critical reasonings that are going to come with that, okay? So, and I wrote them down and stuff like that so that we don't spiral out of control, and I'm sure that we'll still make some cuts and stuff like that. So if the moon is a Death Star, okay, that's not the title, but that's my okay. Number one, the tech is so advanced, so significant, that no aliens and other advanced life would ever just let that Death Star sit there and collect dust and wither and weather away. Okay? So, possibility one, okay, if the moon is a Death Star, okay, that achievement is so incredible, that achievement is so massive, okay, and what it stood for is so massive, okay, that if whoever was connected to it, if some kind of massive catastrophe, if some kind of incredible circumstances have separated them from that, okay, it is so massive, that is such an incredible technology that everything would still be geared toward reacquiring, okay, resecuring that technology, resecuring that piece. Right. Do you understand that concept? Okay, it's no aliens, no other advanced life. It wouldn't just. It would be very unlikely that the Death Star would be sitting there for millions of years. In order for the under condition one, in order for the Death Star to be sitting there for millions of years, okay, everyone connected to it would have to have been wiped out, zapped, and sent to a whole entire different dimension. Okay, and I got your back here because if you're thinking, well, we're at the point of the Death Star technology, so why isn't that possible? Fantastic that you just jumped on board with that. That's great. I'll tell you why, okay? I'll tell you why it's equally not likely. Because if we're at that stage with that technology, then it's just as likely that we have the technology for them to get right back. And if somebody can zap entire civilizations away, then the technology exists for entire civilizations to get zapped back. Okay? It's a two-way, it's logic and reasoning. And that's why it's so beautiful. And that's why we need it so badly. Okay? So that we can actually explore these ideas and really get some wealth in these ideas and not just throw them around like it's Star Wars. Not saying that anyone recently has or that but, okay. Gets a good warm-up, right? Okay. So, okay. Number two that I wrote down. The tech is so advanced that the creators and other life involved would also be so advanced that it should be no problem regaining control, finding it, and there should be no problem with space limitations, such as suddenly being stuck in an orbit that takes 10,000 years to get close enough to the moon, etc., and stuff. All right, let me stop there. These are notes. They're not the finished product, and they're not completely neatly written out or whatever. The tech is so advanced that the creators and other life involved would also be so advanced. There should be no problem regaining control and finding it. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're consistent in the setting and the circumstances and the conditions that we're setting up for the advanced technology, for the advanced civilizations that created. Okay, the Death Star. Okay, if you're at that level that you're creating a Death Star, if then the arguments that they're limited by orbits and things like that become highly unlikely. And I'm pretty sure I continued to Okay, right, because I said these highly advanced life have planetary control tech, orbit control tech. It makes no sense to them to limit them to being trapped somewhere, okay? They're not limited by some planet somewhere that's stuck on a 10,000 orbit around our sun, okay? They're not, because you don't have planetary tech control to be able to build a Death Star and sit it in our orbit. And not only sit it in our orbit, but for it to not rotate. I mean, you know, spin. So, no, they don't. They would have the technology to also overcome that. It is highly unlikely that advanced civilizations that can build a Death Star and park it into an orbit, okay, are then limited by other difficulties in space like we are. Okay? And they're finding it a really hard time to get into the solar system. And then from Pluto all the way over here, it's such a big deal. And then all that radiation, and you know how long it takes. And then some of them have to come out of the deep freeze, and the food is just so. Those type of problems are not the problems of Death Star building people. You know, cool? Cool, right? Right? So, if they are trapped, and they were put there by other advanced aliens who would also have little resistance. And okay, so that was similar to what before. So if the creators are being separated from their creation of the Death Star, blah blah blah, then those people, the other bad intent or resistance that has separated them, then they have the technology and they have the ability, and they shouldn't be limited, and they should have control of that Death Star. And of course, ultimately, once again, if neither one does, then both of them would always be on a course to regaining control of the Death Star. You don't build a Death Star and then you just don't forget about it. And if you think that you do because you're onto the cool approaches of the logic and reasoning and stuff like that, and you're saying, okay, that there's heaps of ones. The Death Star is common. Hold your horses, because we're going to approach that too. All right, we're back, and the next one that I wrote down is pretty hot. Summertime's rolling in over here and stuff. So, but really glad you can join me. So thankful for the support I have from the nice little intimate circle of friends that I have, and anyone who comes by and, you know, makes a comment, and anyone who's just viewing and stuff like that, and you don't have to comment, not a problem, whatever. And I don't push the videos, I don't push the channel, I just like to have it there for people to stumble on or whatever. So it's all good. Thanks. I really appreciate the support and everything. I really do. The Death Star is so advanced, so complex, that it would involve a large amount of systems, civilizations, at all the earliest stages as the planetary control scale ability was achieved and stuff like that. Okay, it's a whole part. But let's stop there for a moment. Okay, it's unlikely. It would be very likely, similar to us, okay, that the technology, the achievement of a satellite, artificial planet, and a satellite or a Death Star, that achievement would involve multiple civilizations, would involve multiple discoveries. We're thinking of the Death Star. We cannot think of the Death Star as a discovery out of the blue, like a discovery. It's just like anything. There would be progressions of the technology. There would be a mastery of space. There would be a mastery of engineering and these type of things. There would be a mastery of orbits understandings and energy and stabilization and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so it's unlikely that one civilization, okay, came up with everything. So when we consider a Death Star, it could be very realistic or accurate to consider a committee, to consider an organization of a galactic organization that's involved with the construction of such a thing and stuff. Especially because it's likely that the technology that is used and involved with the Death Star comes from multiple civilizations, comes from multiple discoveries throughout time, okay? All right. And even if it came from one civ, again, it would still be a progression. So it would be just as likely that that would be heavily regulated, and it would be a lot more unlikely that the whole entire building process occurred under one regime with no other person that could say anything. It was against all other will, not at that technology level. It's very unlikely. It's very unlikely to be able to be at the level to build the Death Star, okay? But you still have a planet. The civilization still consists of a whole bunch of oppressed people who know the truth but just can't do shit. And you've gotten to the point of building Death Stars, and you've gotten to the point of having that type of space control, which surely means you have a better understanding of the electromagnetic relationship, and you have a better understanding of the light and the photon and stuff like that as well. And so you're able to, you're able to use those things to involve for energy, okay, to help with the energy and stuff like that.